Hello and welcome. You're watching India Global. I'm Osama Shaab. There is a lot lined up on the show today. But first, let's take a look at the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to France marks a significant milestone in the India-France strategic partnership, which has touched new heights, according to Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri. Prime Minister Modi and French President Emmanuel Macron reviewed bilateral ties in key areas such as defense, civil nuclear energy and space. Israel-Hamas ceasefire on the brink of a collapse. Benjamin Netanyahu warns Hamas over delay in release of hostages. Trump, in the meanwhile, meets the King of Jordan and doubles down on his plan to take over Gaza. Volodymyr Zelensky proposes to trade land with Putin and offers to return Kursk. A significant prisoner swap between Russia and the United States has led to a thaw in their ties. The swap, which involved 26 individuals, including 16 detainees released by Russia and Belarus, and 8 detainees and 2 minors released by the US and its allies, marks a rare diplomatic breakthrough between the two nations. Well, in a symbolic show of camaraderie, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and French President Emmanuel Macron travelled together from Paris to Marseille aboard the French presidential aircraft, setting the stage for a crucial round of talks. Their discussions spanned the full spectrum of the India-France strategic partnership, marking a milestone in a relationship that has evolved over 25 years, from defense and civil nuclear energy to space exploration and technology. The two leaders went over key issues, reaffirming their commitment to deepening bilateral ties. The outcome of the talks was nothing short of a blueprint for the future. The launch of the India-France Year of Innovation in 2026, a raft of agreements on AI, nuclear energy and sustainability, and a strengthened commitment to people-to-people relations. Furthermore, a new partnership has been forged on advanced modular reactors, while India's tech startups were offered a foothold at France's famed Station F incubator. Macron, in a gracious gesture, in the meanwhile, hosted Modi for a dinner and sealing the day's momentum and being invited by Prime Minister Modi to India. As the two leaders chart a course towards a brighter future, their relationship stands poised to go from strength to strength, a true partnership in the making.
The proposed hosting of the next AI summit by India and the designation of 2026 as the India-France Year of Innovation, our strategic partnership is entering into a new era focused on innovation, on science and on technology. The two countries have adopted a separate declaration on artificial intelligence, which identifies our key priorities in this area and explores the possibilities of cooperation.
Welcome back. In a tense, high-stakes announcement, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu declared that the ceasefire with Hamas would end if the militant group fails to release hostages by midday Saturday. Netanyahu warned of intense fighting resuming if the hostages were not returned, citing the backing of US President Donald Trump's demand for the deadline. However, Hamas, citing alleged Israeli violations, indicated a delay in the release, claiming that Israel was responsible for the truce's complications. In the midst of this entire crisis, in Washington, Trump praised Jordan's King Abdullah for agreeing to take in 2,006 children from Gaza, a token gesture in line with Trump's broader plan to relocate Palestinians from Gaza to neighboring countries, a plan that has been rejected by both Jordan and Egypt, who view it as a threat to regional security. As Egypt and Jordan seek alternatives, Trump's confidence in his proposal remains unshaken. The clock is ticking towards the Saturday deadline, and the world watches as the fate of hundreds of hostages and the future of Gaza hangs in the balance. And to understand the consequences of what exactly is happening at the moment, I'm currently joined by Kamaraga, West Asia expert. Mr. Aga, welcome to NDTV. There is a fear that the ceasefire agreement can collapse amid this entire development. How are you looking at it at the moment, and what is your assessment?
At the moment, it looks, the war would resume. Netanyahu is under pressure from far-right groups within his coalition. They are pressurizing Netanyahu to resume fighting, especially, Ben Gavir, who was earlier Minister of National Security, and Basil Smotrich, who is now Finance Minister, both, plus other hardliners, they want war to resume. They want Gaza to be vacated by the Palestinians. They want Greater Israel. So they want they say that the war has that the Netanyahu believes, also, that major achievement or major goals of the war have not yet been achieved because Hamas is still strong. Large number of people have joined Hamas also. So most likely it looks, by Saturday, if Hamas refuses to surrender these militants, Israel might start
Mr. Aga,
bombing.
Mr. Aga, many would say that Israel is looking for reasons that this agreement becomes null and void so that they can continue their military operation.
Of course, because its objective is to get rid of the Gaza has become unlivable. People, can't live in that territory. This is what the Americans are also saying.
Yeah.
So, but they don't want to leave that place. They say that this is our ancestor place. They are buried here. We don't want to leave here. We have been living here for hundreds of years, and so we are not going to go anywhere. So that is the problem, So it looks, the ethnic cleansing is not acceptable to others also, other states also. Secondly, the Arab-Israeli conflict or this Gaza conflict, has promoted Arab nationalism. That is another problem because the Egypt, Jordan, the people in these two countries, plus in other countries also, more than 90% Arab, are supporting Gaza. They are pressurizing pro-American regimes that they should do more. They should come out openly in support of Gaza. They should help Hamas. So that is the situation. So if the people are expelled, I believe, this will create problem in the region, particularly in Egypt and Jordan. That's why Egypt is deploying its troops at the border. So that is another problem, How are they going to talk time? I think, the thing is that Americans should resume negotiation with Egypt, but Egypt is refusing to talk to him. Egypt have cancelled its visit to Washington. But by force, you cannot bulldoze. You cannot force people to go out. This will create more problem for the existing regimes in the Arab world, particularly Egypt and Jordan. These two regimes, the possibility is that these forces of destabilization might emerge or destabilize these places because these regimes are not very popular. We have seen in 2011 mass uprising took place in Egypt. People wanted a civilian government, but again, civilian government was dismissed and army staged a coup and army came back into power. Jordan is also having a lot of problem, economic problem and other thing. But on the other hand, also, it is also important to note both these regimes are dependent on America for economic and security reasons.
Absolutely,
so this
sir.
is another problem.
In fact, we understand Donald Trump's stand on this entire situation at the moment. What I want to understand from you is what role can international leaders, especially the Arab leaders, play in ensuring that this situation doesn't escalate at the moment?
So they are talking to different people, to the Europeans and Americans. They have passed resolutions. Arabs are powerless. They don't have fighting force. They don't have leverage over America. They themselves, most of the Arab regimes, including the rich ones, like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, Dubai, all these states, they are dependent on America for security. So they have very limited option. They can only talk. They can only impress American Donald Trump not to do this thing. But the President Trump is not listening to their demands. He is hell bent. He wants Gaza to be vacated. He wants to make the region the strip as a Riviera of Middle East. He call it.
Yeah.
And in fact, the Israeli government have once mentioned, Netanyahu has said that it would be like Dubai, and once the Dubai-like structure emerges there, so all the American investment, all the other countries' European countries' investment in Dubai will shift to Israel.
Correct.
So that is another. Then second thing, Gaza on the shore side, there's a big deposit of oil and gas. So Israel want to exploit that also, because and they're promising to shift to pump those oil and gas to Western European countries. So a lot of problems, a lot of things, you can't
Absolutely,
bulldoze,
sir.
you can't have these sort of policy, that people should be expelled from one place, ethnic cleansing, settle them into other places. Their pressure on Egypt is that they should build a new city for these expelled Palestinian in Sinai,
Right. In fact,
where money
Mr.
should be
Gaza,
funded by
what are the potential long-term effects of this entire crisis, especially on the regional security and the Israeli-Palestinian conflict? We'll have to wait and watch. Thank you very much for speaking to us and giving us your views. And in a stunning shift, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky declared his willingness to negotiate land exchanges with Russia, a major concession after nearly 2 years of resistance. Speaking to The Guardian, Zelensky signaled Ukraine's readiness to trade seized Russian territory like Kursk for peace, marking a pivotal moment ahead of his anticipated meeting with US Vice President J.D. Vance at the Munich Security Conference. Now, despite this, Zelensky emphasized that any security guarantees for Ukraine must involve the United States, warning that European assurances alone would not suffice. And in fact, my colleague Mohammad Ghazali joins us to get us more on this. Ghazali, what are the implications here that we are looking at?
See, two significant points coming out of this statement. One, that what Mr. Trump had been saying, that perhaps Ukraine is also running out of his steam in this war. And that is why Zelensky, who has always been blaming Russia for stretching this war, has somewhere realized that perhaps US had been, the new administration had also been pushing him for polls in Ukraine, for which the survey results doesn't show any kind of favorable results for Mr. Zelensky. And that is why it appears now that he's also looking for a ceasefire kind of arrangement by intervention of United States. Meanwhile, he has also been hearing these inputs from United States that how Mr. Trump and Mr. Putin had telephonic conversation. Today, there has been a kind of a prisoner swap thing happening between US and Russia. Russia has released one American citizen. US is also contemplating sort of releasing one Russian citizen. So the things are moving very fast when it comes to Russia and Ukraine's conflict, and US being a superpower who can influence or bring these two parties on table. And that is why it appears now that Mr. Zelensky is also looking for that kind of arrangement through which he may not have to face further humiliation, because Mr. Trump and his people in his administration have been very critical of US aid to Ukraine in this war. And J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States, has also been very critical that why should US keep pushing aid towards Ukraine when we are not getting any desired result for that. So that is why Mr. Zelensky is now playing all his cards. One, that he is offering that a land swap or a region swap with Russia can bring a halt to this war, as well as he can sense the mood or the what you can say, the inclination of the new administration, and that is why he's also asking for further US guarantees to Ukraine.
Absolutely. Mohammad Ghazali, thank you very much for getting us all the details. And the Jeffrey Epstein client list has been a topic of much speculation and intrigue. Recently, a new task force led by Anna Paulina Luna, a member of the Congress appointed by President Trump, announced plans to declassify federal secrets, including files related to Epstein's case. However, it's essential to note that the released documents might not contain an explicit client list, as many believe. According to reports, the unsealed documents are part of a defamation lawsuit which was filed by one of Epstein's accusers against Maxwell, Epstein's ex-partner and ex-business partner. Time now for a very short break. More on the other side. Welcome back. Following his engagements in France, Prime Minister Modi is set to proceed to the United States at the invitation of President Donald Trump to further strengthen India's global partnerships, with a particular focus on technology, defense and economic cooperation. The two leaders are expected to discuss a range of strategic issues, including trade policies, defense cooperation and global security challenges. In fact, and it is expected to propose tariff cuts and increased energy and defense imports during a meeting with the United States President. The Prime Minister is keen to avert a potential trade war and boost trade ties after President Trump threatened reciprocal tariffs on many countries. So, significant visit there by the Prime Minister of India to United States. This is going to be the first Modi-Trump meeting in the United States, especially after President Trump's inauguration. This entire bonhomie will face the test between Trump and Prime Minister Modi. Trade, defense, energy these sectors are going to be in focus for this high-stakes talks. US President Donald Trump will be meeting with the Indian Prime Minister Modi. And in fact, Alistair D'Souza joins us from Washington to get us more on this. Alistair, just get us the significance of this entire visit by the Indian Prime Minister, especially for India as well as the United States.
Absolutely significant. One telling point here is the fact that Prime Minister Modi is just the fourth leader to meet President Trump since he was inaugurated less than a month ago. And of course, several issues going to be on the table there between President Trump and Prime Minister Modi. One of them, key issues, is going to be trade, of course. President Trump, as we know, doesn't like his big irritant has constantly been the trade deficit. So that's definitely going to be one of the issues that's going to come up between Prime Minister Modi and President Trump. As you know, India's trade deficit, or the US trade deficit with India, stands at $45 billion. What does that really mean? Well, a trade deficit happens when a country begins to import more than it exports. So in this case, the irritant being that the United States is actually getting in from India, or rather buying more from India than actually selling to India. Now, one must remember that Prime Minister Modi has come here or will be here in Washington well armed, so to speak, in order to make sure that he convinces President Trump that he is definitely going to listen. He is already listening. He's talked about, and we've seen in the recent budget, sweeteners that India has offered in terms of trade duties or tariffs that India imposes on US goods being reduced, whether it's on heavy-duty motorcycles or cars or smartphones as well, benefiting American companies such as Harley-Davidson, Apple, or Tesla, for that matter. So Prime Minister Modi really coming here with, in a way, a strategic move, telling Donald Trump that we are listening to you, we have listened to you, look at what we've done, and we're also going to do more. As far as what that more may be, it will also be looking at what it can do to buy more from the United States in terms of energy deals and also defense deals.
Right. In fact, there are also going to be a lot of other issues that are going to be discussed in those meetings, including the issue of how illegal Indian migrants are being deported from there. Alistair, thank you very much for getting us all the vital details. Time now for a very short break. More news and updates on the other side.